Hi, everybody. Welcome to the SSA Client Spotlight. I am interviewing today Nikki McEvers with Be Human HR. Not only is she a client of ours, we manage her group health insurance plan for her and her team. She's also an amazing expert in human resources, people, ops, everything strategic, just culture, everything involved with continuing to develop your HR team, organization, compliance, managing people. She's absolutely amazing. I've really enjoyed working with her, and trust me when I say we put her through the test with COVID. I love very specific answers and instructions, and when everything was coming out with COVID, we had lots of questions for her, and not only did she handle it with just grace, she was extremely knowledgeable, and when she needed to learn something, she was resourceful, learned it, brought it back to us, and just, you've completely earned my trust when it comes to anything HR related, and I love having you as a resource and partner when it comes to clients. So with that, I'm going to just have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your business, how long you've been in business, a little bit more about your team, and a little bit more about the clients you work with.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. So HR consultant, I've been in HR for almost 20 years now. It seems like, forever. Certified in HR, have my master's in HR. The last actual employment position that I held in HR was a VP of HR. And then in 2018, about 5.5 years ago, I started Be Human. I really felt like I was at a place in my career where, one, I needed to challenge myself, and two, I was really seeking to get some diversity with the situation of HR, and wanting to diversify the clients and the industries that I was serving. So in doing that, I started networking, started building trust with my referral partners, and then just have been going strong, from then. On my team, I have a team of HR consultants, specifically who work with clients either day to day on projects. We do things like HRIS systems implementations. We do comp analysis. We do day-to-day HR stuff. So we're sometimes a part-time HR department for clients. And then we also help in the interim when there is a vacancy in HR where they need somebody to stand in and help specifically in the business.
Got it. I love it. And one of the things that has been going on, obviously, is just a super hard talent market. I feel like it's kind of easing up just a little bit. Maybe you have seen differently, but one of the things I feel like companies, and we've seen, is just companies really wanting to try to get employee retention right. And I'd love to hear about some unique strategies you guys are implementing at companies that you're partnering with on how to keep their employees happy and continue to retain them.
Yeah, so definitely throughout the last 5 or 6, 7 years, that has gone from employee market to employer to employee. And now we are settling out a bit. I feel like throughout those years, though, some things that stay consistent and that are always present in businesses who have good culture, good retention, just like a good working environment, is the recognition, right? Even peer-to-peer, manager to employee recognition, based on the work that they do, the impact that they have within the organization. It doesn't always have to be quality of work and that sort of thing. But so when recognition is present, when it's something that's talked about, celebrated, discussed, those businesses generally are doing better than other businesses that I have been involved in. The other thing really, hiring at the highest level possible, and then giving autonomy to the employees that you have validated and know that can do the job that you've hired them to do. And then as a boss, a mentor, CEO of a business, always making time for when the employee needs you for a question, being available to them. And lastly, me specifically, I always seek out from my staff, what do they value, what's important to them, and I try to meet them there when it comes to retention. The staff out there, employees that we employ, they value different things. So I try to meet them where they're at when it comes to things like that. and kind of individualize some of the benefits that I provide to them.
Yeah, there's a drive, the drive could be different for every single person on your team. And if we're just focused on increasing pay, somebody's time off might be more important than their pay. And yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's been 5 years. Congratulations. When's the actual 5-year anniversary?
So it was like 5.5. So it's essentially January.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And what has been one of the most challenging times that you've had in your business, and how do you feel like you've overcome it, if you have?
Yeah, so I feel like it was like when I was starting out. It's a transition from being W-2 employee, feeling like you have consistency, stability, and then that transition there. I know it was really important for me was to build a credibility with other businesses that I was, going to be a referral partner with. I generally, I want to provide good service to our clients and build good relationships. And I want to have a high quality of work. And I set a goal for myself that my clients would come either from referral partners or just from doing awesome work. And I've been able to maintain that. I feel like, these 5.5 years. I mean, rightfully so. You're always faced with that question when you first start out, like from clients, if you are from referral partners, if the client wants to hire you, are you going to not have a business anymore? You're going to not be an HR consultant anymore. My view was always, this is my job. I really like what fuels me is the diversity in clients and industry, and providing practical solutions to businesses. So
I love that. And you've definitely, I think, just so much more exposure with all the different industries you can now serve versus just being in-house and working with one company for however many years and getting the exposure of just that one company and internal structures.
Yeah. And it's also allowed me to provide better service to the clients too, because then I can see like this type of client does this, and this is something new that I wouldn't have learned somewhere. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
One piece of advice, speaking of kind of somebody new entering into the industry, what would you give?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's confidence is contagious. So if you believe in yourself and you do the right thing for the client, the rest will sort itself out. And I've really lived by that. In the field of HR, you will come across situations where you have to ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? And like I said, if that's your compass of always doing the right thing, not necessarily only for the client, but for the employee too, and for yourself as a business owner and your employees, then like I said, everything else will sort itself out.
Yeah, it's like the North Star. And I love that. It's confidence is so key in all of what we all do in leading a team and just helping people trust that you've got their back and you have their best interests at heart. It's definitely one of our values that we hold is, and how we, and how we communicate is something I continuously train my team on, right? It's like, we want to make sure that when that client or employee calls our office, right, mm-hmm. we want them to feel like they can trust us and we have their back, and they can rest assured we're going to at least do our absolute best to fix any problem that they have, right? Or guide them in the best way we can.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like managing expectations and communication becomes all of a sudden like our biggest job, Yeah. So when people think of Be Human, what message do you want to leave them with, and what mark do you want to leave?
Yeah, I mean, I thought a lot about this, and I thought a lot about, how do I even, like, in the beginning, what name of a company am I even going to like come up with? And the whole idea behind Be Human HR is like putting the human back in human resources. And I know that that's kind of like a catchphrase like some human resources companies are using nowadays, but going through and, the last 15 years or so, and HR evolving from being very humanized and then going to like statistics and, like making decision based on statistics, and then going back to now we have a workforce that is very, very different. So putting the human back in human resources, and, really living by like being honest ultimately is the kind thing to do, and being honest with your clients, being honest with your staff, is really the best thing to do.
Yeah. And then tell me about your why. What is your why? Why you started the business, kind of why you do what you do, what drives you and what fuels you?
Sure. So growing up, my parents had a small business themselves. I mean, and that was like a little bit later on in my life. But I saw what it took to have a small business. It was me and my brother working there almost, every weekend. And just seeing the other folks that were working there and seeing the impact that we made in the business that they had with the clients who would come and seek services from us. So that I've always kind of thought about that and thought about how somebody, it could be one person or two people, can start something that can really impact other people's lives. And when I think about like working, and you think about like, working because you have to work for money, or working because you want to, because it's something that you're passionate about, I wanted to put myself in a position where I could support businesses who then provide jobs to people who need to work for whatever reason it was. So because that was important to me, even like through the pandemic, and just like kind of what you were talking about, like providing practical solutions, I want to do whatever it takes to make sure those businesses stay in business.
Mhm.
And that also translates to HR as well, because we know some of the things that can happen that can impact businesses because of employees, and or even because of employers, how things are happening. So I wanted to put myself in a position where I could help businesses stay in business and treat employees correctly
Mhm.
and do the right thing. And then, like I said, everything else will
Yeah.
sort itself out.
I love that. And truly what you're doing is you're calling in clients that are in alignment with your mission and your why, right? It's the kind business. It's the business that really truly operates with integrity and wants to do the right thing. And you can quickly weed out those that don't have any interest in doing that, or maybe they just need to, maybe they have a leadership change and
Mhm.
they just need some guidance in how to kind of restructure and be that type of company. So really, really cool. I applaud you for aligning yourself with those types of clients, and loved this time with you. I just, all of you, Nikki is an absolute amazing resource. Very, very on it with responses and any questions you guys have. I mean, I'm happy to share her information. And again, because she's a client and a really great resource, just happy to share her information with our community. And just feel free to reach out. I'm sure she'd love to just hear from you if you listen to this all the way through and want to just say hi. So we'll put your information in the newsletter as well. And thank you so much for being on today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, no problem.